Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's up, y'all? My name is Josiah Davis.
Hello.
What's happening?
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Let's go. Yeah. Well, my name is Josiah Davis. Some might call me a melodic hip hop artist. Mm-hmm. But I try to make as many different genres as I can. I want a big goal for my career, just in the long term, is I want to have at least one song by the end of my career for everybody.
Okay.
So if you go digging through my stuff, I'm sure you will find something that no matter what kind of vibe or what kind of music you listen to, you'll resonate with it, hopefully.
I dig that. Looking for that Latin jazz track in the future.
Oh, bro, let's do it. I'm so down.
Oh, yeah. And then what got you into music initially?
Oh, it was growing up around it. My pops is super into the local hip hop scene where I'm from. I'm from Tri-Cities, Washington.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he's super into the hip hop scene there. For the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. So I grew up with him always going to shows and there always being hip hop in the house. And he helped me make my first song when I was I was 7.
Gotcha.
In our living room on an old Apple laptop with a cracked version of Logic Pro X on it.
Okay. Well, we'll just say it was a regular version of Logic Pro X.
Please don't sue me.
Apple, don't watch this episode. No, I dig that, though. So it's really it's multi-generational for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even going back further past him, his father was a country artist, and
gotcha.
His mom is a theater. She does musicals and stuff. So it's music, multiple generations of my family.
It's been you didn't really have an option almost.
No, yeah, it was destined to happen, I guess.
I dig that.
Yeah.
And then before we get into more what you do with it in the present day, I do have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody.
Yeah, of course.
And this first one is one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Oh, with my own money? Mm-hmm. Are we talking physically?
I guess I know a lot of people in your generation don't really do tangible, but if you do, then that one, yeah.
I do, yeah. I think the first record I bought with my own money, that's actually a really good question. I recently started getting into vinyl.
Okay.
That was kind of my introduction into physical music media. Mm-hmm. And I think the first album that I bought with my own money was Igor by Tyler, the Creator.
Okay, hell yeah. That's a rad album.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big. I may have that down in my stack of records down here now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see it all the way up. Yep, I see it over there too. Yeah. Super good album.
That's such a good album.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to? That was specifically one you wanted to go to.
The first live show I ever went to was in 2018. I saw NF at
Whoa, okay.
At our arena that we have called the Toyota Center. Mm-hmm. And yeah, great show, great performer.
Man, that's wild.
That's awesome.
Do you remember who they were performing with?
I think I know there was an opener. I can't remember who it was.
Fair.
But yeah.
Hell yeah, well, that's still super cool. Although I imagine you've probably gone to many shows prior to that.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure probably when I was younger.
What was one of the earliest ones you remember?
I can't pinpoint a specific one. I know my pops over here. There we have a bar, mm-hmm. a venue called Ray's Golden Lion, mm-hmm. and I remember he would do shows there all the time. I'm sure I went to one of them, but
gotcha. Okay.
When I was a youngin,
no, I feel you.
Quite a bit younger.
I feel you. And then have you always been in the Tri-Cities area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I lived in Minnesota actually for 3 years.
Oh.
From when I was like 6 to about 9.
Okay, so that was like where you were when you like first.
Yeah, from when I first started writing and stuff.
Gotcha. And then when you moved back to the Tri-Cities area, like what was the response like for people for the music that you do?
I mean, that part is rough because I didn't really start taking music like seriously and like putting it out, like show people until I was like 13.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I kept it kind of low key for the first like 4 years of me being back.
Gotcha.
And then I started putting stuff out.
Okay. And do you play any instruments or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. I play guitar mainly. I know a little bit of piano and a little bit of drums.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah.
And how long have you been playing guitar for?
About 3 years at this point.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're playing it pretty regularly.
Yeah, I try to at least.
Gotcha. Do you play any on any of your albums?
No, I have a couple songs that are unreleased though where I'm playing guitar on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and let's get on into more of you in the present day.
Let's do it.
We are going to get what I'm sure is the easiest one out of the way.
All right.
How did you pick your artist name?
Oh yeah. It's crazy. You'll never guess it. It's literally just my legal name.
Whoa.
But I have it stylized a little differently. Yeah, my legal name is Josiah Davis, but unfortunately it's not on my birth certificate. It's not all caps, no space.
I was going to say, I feel like maybe there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah, that was just, I don't know. That was my manager's idea.
No, I dig it.
That would be cool to kind of differentiate me.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with going with your regular name. It's like, first of all, it's easy to respond to. It's easy to spell. You do have a pretty comfortable name as far as like reading it goes. So all in all, not a bad.
I have a good artist name too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It rolls off the tongue well. It's not like overly syllabic. It works well, and it does look good in all caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about your writing process a little bit.
right.
And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning.
Awesome.
So when you get inspired, you're ready to make music.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you do to get a track started?
I pick a beat and I just sit down for like an hour and a half and just put down whatever's on my mind.
Gotcha.
That's how a good 99% of my tracks come about. It's a very stream of consciousness. I don't go into like I don't go to the studio. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write a song about X, Y, and Z. Like, no, it's literally just, this is what's on my mind. I'm gonna put it onto a piece of paper and make it rhyme.
Gotcha.
And like,
Okay.
maybe put a melody on it. If it's
Hey, that even rhymed technically, so there you go.
yeah, see, I'm just a poet and I don't even know it.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I dig that. And then as far as like beats go, are you getting them from people? Do you go online? Do you make it
Yeah,
yourself?
I do make a little bit myself. I've kind of fallen out of it a little bit, but I have a few tracks where I have done all the production myself, but a lot of it is YouTube. Like,
Gotcha.
some
Okay.
people will be ashamed to say, "Oh, I get my beats from YouTube." No, bro. Like, the amount of crazy, just like absolutely beautiful pieces of art that I found on YouTube just scrolling is crazy.
Yeah, well, that nowadays it's a little more like streamlined. Like back in the day, like getting beats off the internet was like, you were like, what are you doing? Why would
You're
you?
getting a virus.
Yeah, like why would you get something from somebody you don't even know?
Yeah, exactly.
Now that that whole like platform kind of exists in a way where it's just easier to get.
100%.
Yeah. And then as far as the words go, are you pen and paper? Are you putting them in your phone? Are you freestyling?
I put them in my phone now. For the longest time, I was just fully set on pen and paper.
Okay.
But I feel like it's just a lot more convenient to put it in my notes app.
Yeah, I mean, the phone is kind of always there with you, especially if it's like something where you like grew up using it. Like I'm pen and paper just in general because that's just like how my brain gets stuff out. But for a lot of people who, either grew up with the phone or are moving around all the time, like it's not a bad way to go.
My notes app is a mess, bro. Like, it's a graveyard of like ideas, and like sometimes I'll just put like little phrases that I plan on coming back to and turning into a fully realized thing, and then they just sit there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a mess, bro.
You should start using like add a word into like just everything you use, and then you can search that one word and it'll pull up everything.
Yeah.
Keyword searches in the notes app. That is how I save my life. Yeah. It is rough in there for things for the show, so I get it. And then once you get a track finished writing, how long does it usually take you to feel comfortable enough to perform it?
I mean, performing in what sense? Like, are we talking about live, or are we talking?
Yeah. So like you're ready to like actually do it in front of people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Usually when I finish the track and I record and everything, I'll just send it to my phone and I'll listen to it like on repeat, just to learn the words, really.
Gotcha.
And then everything kind of follows suit after that. So it doesn't take very long, to be honest.
Okay. And then are you always recording your tracks before you like start like learning them and getting them out there? Or are there some that you
usually, yeah.
Okay. And do you like record your stuff at home and then go somewhere and have it mixed, or do you like practice at home and then go and record?
That's what we did for this record I just put out called In Transit. I recorded everything at home and I did my own mixes on it. But then we took it over to my guy Kodo in Edmonds, and he mixed and mastered it his own way.
Gotcha. Okay. I dig that.
Yeah.
And then before we talk about your music a little bit, you know, I mean, you are, you know, a little bit on the younger side as far as like the world of music goes. Yeah. Because I mean, you just celebrated your 16th birthday.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Sir. And y'all get to see the nice little cupcake we got him during his live performance.
Yeah. That was so cool.
But like, being so active in music right now, like what is that like? How is like the music world receiving you?
It's been a lot of positivity, but there's also been some crazy people on the internet mainly.
Yeah, you can't bother with the comments.
That comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's been a lot of love, at least from people who are like real like music fans, not just people who are scrolling, talking crap on Instagram. But yeah, like all the industry people that I've talked to have been really positively receptive to my stuff, and it's cool.
Cool, I dig that. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I do want to talk about your music a little bit.
Yeah.
So I jumped on Yield Spotify, and you've got a pretty solid amount of music for just, you know, having started releasing in 2024. Yeah. You've got a grip of singles. You've got 2 full albums.
Yeah.
It's all really good. Your delivery is strong. Your beat selection is great, and you do have a really good variety of music. When I was listening through it, I wasn't like, oh, this track sounds like the last track. Like all the beats kind of change up a little bit. Your delivery changes up because you've got a very melodic aspect to your song, like your sound, like you said, but you've also got bars. You definitely came out swinging. I mean, when I was watching you last night, I was like, oh, Mans is coming out with
because that's my foundation, bro. Like, especially with my pops, like his music that he wrote is super punchline heavy, bars, lyrical. Like that's my foundation. That's where I started.
Gotcha.
Everything else was kind of added onto it.
Gotcha. And that makes sense. And then when I was checking out your most recent album, like you mentioned, In Transit, which just came out 2 days ago, 3 days ago now, in the realm of this, it'll be a few weeks by the time this comes out. It's really cool. It's really cool. It's a little bit of a change up from Welcome to Nowhere, and it's more effects driven. It's a little more, definitely a little more modern, a little more alternative. But there's a lot of really good emotion in it. There's a lot of presentation. There's this extra level of clarity, which I thought was really cool. Like
that's Kodo.
Yeah,
that's 100% Kodo,
not so much like. I mean, don't get me wrong. The mix is great.
Amazing.
The mix is great. But like your presence in it, like it didn't feel like you were trying to like lazy your way through the vocals to try and match like what's present in today. It didn't feel like you kind of phoned it in using lines that just felt like, you know, copy and paste statements that sound cool right now. Yeah. There is a lot of like originality and a lot of you in the music in a really cool way. And I mean, even like, you know, like a track in particular, Rigor Mortis.
Oh yeah.
That one really stood out to me because it's very like, it is very alternative. It is very like bitey. It's very driven, but the whole album just has a really cool feel to it and a very different feel than your previous album, which I appreciate.
Yeah, a lot of work went into that one. Even just the amount of songs that we made for that record, dude. Like there was 12 that came out, and I think we had to pick from about like a pool of 80.
Oh, dang.
Like it's a lot.
Dang. You're gonna have another deluxe.
Oh, bro, I could have like 5 if I really wanted to.
You're gonna have to pull an E40 and do the like day shift, night shift.
I could do like the Taylor Swift thing where I put out like a physical, and each like version of the physical has like 4 different bonus tracks.
Oh no, that is such a good idea. Taylor. Smart move.
Yeah.
No, that is a cool concept.
Yeah.
And when you put a record out, like a physical record out, definitely let me know. I want one of those.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. But I am curious to know, out of all the music you have available, what are some of your favorite tracks to perform?
Oh, to perform? Do What I Can off of In Transit. Probably always be my number one, at least until something like crazy massive comes around.
Yeah.
That track is just so emotional, and like in the grain, in like the set, in the scheme of the set, that's the moment where I can just like let it all out. Like sometimes,
Which is crazy to me because you are going bananas on stage. Like, was not prepared for that. I was running around with the gimbal. I was like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that.
Yeah.
You've got really good stage presence. Your energy is really high. You're really interactive. Like, I noticed that just, from your set last night, like, you really bring that element to the stage.
It's a lot of rehearsing and a lot of running.
It shows for sure. It's cool because it's just like stage presence is such a hard thing for a lot of people. Like figuring out what to do, how to move, how to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like take that energy and put it into the performance, not let the energy hurt the performance.
Yeah, I feel like the energy is kind of like, at least on stage, has definitely come from my dad. That's like, I feel like that's just something that I kind of inherited.
Well, y'all were crushing it on stage together. I thought that was really cool. He was like, yo, can I get a mic for me too? I was like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. How, like, when did you all start like performing together? Like, has that kind of always been from the start?
That's kind of a new thing, to be honest. That we started doing that mainly like on this last run of shows.
Gotcha.
We did Seattle and Portland, and obviously we did Brick House last night. But yeah, it helps that we're related. So like,
yeah, you've got that
he's
energy
kind of
there.
around, and he's always heard all the stuff, so he kind of knows all like the pockets and everything.
Yeah.
So
well, then I mean, just even the experience in music, I'm sure he can like analyze like, this is a good moment to like back it up.
Yeah.
And like the way you two like play off each other and stuff, it is a really cool dynamic to have on stage.
Yeah, 100%.
And then now I want to take a moment. I want to kind of zoom out. I want to look at more music as a whole.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're listening to right now that you enjoy or you're finding inspiration in at the moment?
There's this album from this amazing artist. His name is Glaive, called May It Never Falter, that I've been taking a lot of inspiration from. It's kind of like how you describe my album. It's very like modern and alternative, and it's a lot more electronic, I feel like, which is a direction that I want to kind of start heading into. So that's the album that I've been listening to a lot. There's also this album called Boy by this artist. His name is Tualis. And that's like full EDM hard style mixed with like underground SoundCloud rap.
Gotcha.
And it's
okay.
so cool.
That does sound like a really interesting
the coolest thing in the world to me. Like, yeah.
And then you said you were moving more towards like, or you were like wanting to move in a more electronic direction next. Do you like have anybody in mind that you would want to work with on that, or are you going to kind of go the same route?
That's a very hard question. There's a lot of people that I want to collaborate with. I have a song. It's kind of like that. It's like a house song with this amazing artist. Her name is Anna Thompson. She's like in that kind of like pop EDM sphere, and yeah, that's kind of like a junior version.
Yeah.
Of how far I want to go.
I got you. And yeah, I feel like for more electronic based sounds, it's good to work with a person because those take so much sculpting. Those take so much like, you got to kind of nuance it in, especially if you want to like mix it into a genre versus just like going and finding them wherever you can.
100%.
So when you go that route, I'm curious to who you end up working with because that'll be a fun one for sure.
For sure.
Now, before we move into the next part, which is all hypothetical questions, this next question is probably the densest one in the interview.
Okay.
But we've talked about, your experience with music, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Music gives me a feeling that no other form of art can. Whether that's a feeling of sadness, a feeling of love, a feeling of happiness. Music is able, at least in my own experience, music has given me emotions and feelings and the ability to feel those emotions in a way that really nothing else has. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some sort of like psychological like reasoning for that that I don't know yet, but it just connects with me in a certain way, and it's always clicked with me. It's just, whether it's making it or listening to it, it's been the one thing in my life that I've always been like good at, that I've always like connected with, and just like, oh, this works. There's like, I think something that I think about is when I was younger, I would play video games with like my older cousins and stuff, and I would suck at them. Like I'd be so bad at it, and that gave me, I feel like that started the feelings of like, wow, am I even really like good at anything? And then I started making music like seriously, and I started getting better. I'm like, wow, I found the thing that I'm good at and that I like understand. I feel like everyone has that thing that they're just good at. Even if you feel like you don't. Like how I was for the longest time. I thought I was just going to be like a person existing on this like water rock that we call Earth. But like everyone has that thing that they're good at. And I feel like music is that for me. So to answer your question, that's what music gives to me. It gives me emotion. It gives me reassurance that I'm good at something.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. And that's a really powerful thing to acknowledge at such a young age. Like, yeah, purpose doesn't show up for everybody at the same time. You know, like everybody always says like what the KFC guy didn't figure it out till he was like 60.
Yeah.
And, you know, like shout out to the Colonel, I guess. But just that is a really, really cool thing for you to be able to acknowledge at this point in your life. And really, I mean, just from, like I said, what I've seen, what I've heard, you have owned it. You have really put a lot of the effort in. You've made a lot of the right moves to kind of get you into the spaces to be successful. So that is really cool to hear. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
But now, like I said, we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions.
Let's go.
For these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
All right.
But this first one is pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive.
Oh,
who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
Oh, I'd want to work with. So difficult. I want to work with Glaive. Like I was talking about. Yeah. I've seen like videos of how he works and like him talking about his work process, and it's just so interesting to me. That would be really cool to like experience firsthand and like have a part in that.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
He's somewhat local. He's from where I'm from, but he's based in Seattle. His name is Nobi.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Nobi is just so cool. I don't know how else to explain it. He's just so cool. He's such a good guy. He's always shown me nothing but love, like when I've interacted with him.
That would actually be a really good team up too.
Dude, his album Ibast, have you listened to it?
I'm the worst with names, but I'm pretty sure I have.
It's incredible.
I'm pretty sure I've reached out to everybody at Nobi in the comments. Let's see if we can make that happen. And also let him know to message me back if I have. Are you familiar with an artist named Oblé Reed?
Yes, I am.
You guys would have a really cool vibe together.
I really like
really cool.
Yeah, I looked into Oblé stuff a lot.
Yeah. And he is a super nice dude. I got to sit down with him a little while back now. And I think you guys should link up. It would definitely be a really cool interaction.
I have some mutuals with him. I'm sure I do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Well, Oblé, what's up? Let's
everybody at Oblé read in the comments too. Let's make that happen. Yeah. And actually, funny enough, I'm sure you know Jameson from Born Dead Entertainment. He was the one who recommended you to me originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So shout out to Jameson for that.
Nice.
And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power. It was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show. And it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Ooh. Where would you want to perform?
That's such a loaded question, bro. Oh, wow. I feel like I want to perform like at the Tokyo Dome.
Okay.
Like a crazy arena.
Yeah.
Especially in a city like Tokyo with so much culture. Like,
well, and the way they do music is really special.
100%.
Really special. I've had a couple friends who've traveled there to do music, and they're just like, we just played gigs nonstop. Like they would go from gig to gig that they didn't have booked. They would just
show up.
They would just be like, they'd be playing one and they'd be like, hey, we're going to do a gig at this place. You want to come and do a set? So they have a really special music culture there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, could have put out an album yesterday. Who would you want an album from?
Frank Ocean.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Franklin Ocean.
Do it, please.
Do it, please.
Yes.
It's been like almost 9 years.
It's been too long.
Way too
multiple
long.
times on the show. Another Frank Ocean is necessary now more than ever.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a want, it's a need.
No. Yeah, the world needs it. Ever since Michael Jackson was gone, we need Frank Ocean.
We need Frank Ocean.
Yeah. All right, but with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up.
All right.
What can we look forward to between, let's say, now and August.
In August. Got some more shows lined up. I have a show in Bellingham on the 1st. I don't know when this is.
I was going to say, I think this comes out right after that.
All right, yeah. So if you're watching this, I've already played the show.
And it was probably great.
Let's hope so.
Crushed it.
But yeah, I played a show in Bellingham on March 1st. And then we have another show set up at Lewis and Clark, the college in Lewiston.
Okay.
Still looking for more details on that.
Yeah.
For just myself, but it sounds like it's gonna be a fun show. And then just keep pushing the album. Hopefully we get some more shows. We have some really cool plans for a possible tour, like me being possible tour support.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So yeah, it's very exciting. Crossing my fingers that actually happens. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah, no, I dig that. Then for this next one, go and look straight at your camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the social platforms at JOSIAHDavis.music, and I'm also on all the music platforms. My name is Josiah Davis, stylized, all caps, no space, with a period at the end. So yeah, that's where you can find me and talk to me. Hopefully you're not like mean. I met some pretty mean people on the internet, but I'm trusting that everyone who watches this show is really cool. So
hell yeah. And man, don't worry about the comments. You know what I mean? The internet is not a real place.
It's not.
That's the one thing I've
learned. A lot
learned.
of people think it is, but it's not.
The crazy thing too is that all the people doing mean comments, they're only boosting your algorithm. Like even if they're saying something mean, that still counts as a comment, and the internet goes, "Oh, dude's getting comments. Let's keep pushing."
Yeah, and the funniest part is a lot of those guys all have private accounts.
Yep,
and like no profile pictures. So it's like,
yeah, no, there's it. Like I said, unless you hear it in person, don't take it seriously. And if it's not something nice in person, still don't take it seriously. Yeah. Screw the haters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. And then any other plugs? Any other shout outs? Anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
I'm trying to think because I want to give people a platform. My man Hana Corey, he's got an album coming out soon called Hazardous. Hopefully sometime in July. I've worked with him personally a lot on that, and it's super fire. I'm featuring on a couple tracks. It's just it's so cool. It's cool. I don't know what to say about it.
No, I gotcha. And then anybody else you want to put on?
Thanks to my dad for helping make all this possible and driving and paying for everything. Thank you, Jimmy, for letting me on the show and putting me on the show last night. I'm more than appreciative for all the opportunities, man. Seriously.
Of course, man. And they're all well deserved. Now, with that being said, I've got one last question to go. Perfect. Before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
All right.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Round Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Cool.
But in all of music, what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? It's a bit of a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people should know or would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Ooh. It's another album that I've listened to a lot recently. It's called Roll with the Punches by this guy. His name is Perry Mason, based out of New York. It's super like dark, almost kind of Earl Sweatshirt-esque, but like on steroids.
Gotcha.
It's super cool. It's really dark, but at the same time, great lyricism, great production, like just a great piece of art.
I love that. Well, thank you for that, rec.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
My name is Josiah Davis.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.